Hello and welcome to On It Not In It, the interview series. I'm your host, Todd Eppert, and today I'm joined by Al Fischer, who's the owner and president of the Fischer Group. However, that's not the whole story, so let's ask Al his story. So Al, thanks for joining us today. Would you like to kick us off with a brief background as to who you are and what you do?
Yes, thank you, Todd. What I'd like to do is talk a little bit about why and what I did when I got started. So I was in a corporate environment, a Fortune 100 company plus for 26 years, and my goal was really to retire to start businesses. So in 2002, that's exactly what I did. I started a consulting business, and then it led into me starting a business with a couple of partners, which I sold in 2005. I then led to the real vision that I've been pursuing for the last 20 years, which is to be able to start a business that could do end to end from idea to commercialization of products. And so that's what I really started working on. And I built a development company in 2005. And we developed products for different companies. In that, we found out that the products we developed couldn't be manufactured on current systems. So we ended up building a company that could build the machines that could make the product that we could move forward with. So that's kind of the next level of it. And then what we found was we could do that, but then we went to manufacturing, and our real goal was to be able to launch a product into the marketplace in 3 to 6 months. We found out that once we had all that done, the manufacturers couldn't get started up for 6 months, so it didn't fit our time frame. So we had to build a manufacturing company as well to be able to do that, and we did that successfully by 2008. And then since then, we've really refined that, and we've rolled out hundreds of products, kind of things that went through our supply chain. So that's basically the manufacturing, the Fischer manufacturing, or the Fischer Group, I should say, that they can do that end-to-end idea to commercialization. And then we also said, well, there's other parts to this, and one of them is the digital marketplace. And so we started building assets in the digital marketplace to be able to not only sell product, but be able to do product development through the digital market, okay, and as opposed to the traditional way of doing product development. So we built that as well under a company called Sapling. And then we also said, well, we got to get the last mile to the retailers. And we built a retail group that basically distributes to the major retailers in the U.S. So that's kind of my story from start to finish. It's a journey that I love. It's a journey I get up every day with a passion for. So.
Yeah, so thanks for sharing that. So in 20 years, you not only started many companies, you've sold a few, it sounds like at least one. You've also built on, like, when you saw the need in the space, you just created a company around it, right? So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that evolution that you made as we get through our process. But I do want to kind of go back to what you started. You said my why behind what I was doing and what I always wanted to do. So can you remember, was there some kind of spark? You spent 26 years in a Fortune 100 company. Was there something that really said, I want to do something on my own? Was there something that really drove you to do that?
Yeah, I think, as I was an innovator inside the company, I did a lot of innovative things inside the large company. It was just difficult. It was difficult to get them through the process. It was difficult to get people on board and supported to be able to do those different things. And so I've always been an innovator. I've always said, hey, we're going to change it. It's not what it is today. We're going to improve it. We're going to change it. And I did that since I started with the large company. So I was doing a lot of that. I did a major innovation, which was, probably a rollout of $1.3 billion kind of rollout that went in and was very successful. But again, I was moving on to what gets bigger. And what got bigger for me was to be able to do it on my own and be able to reap the rewards of doing it on my own and the sense of accomplishment of doing my own. And that's what drove me to what I'm doing today. So.
Excellent. Yeah, I appreciate that. So a little bit of the drive that said, hey, I think I can do this better if I don't have the shackles of the corporate world, for lack of a better word, the governance, all of the politics in there to get things done, and also do it myself so that I can reap the rewards myself, right? So we all, entrepreneurs, that's what we kind of in our hearts, we want to start something so that we can reap the rewards. We take all the chances, but we also want to reap the rewards. Is that what I hear you say now?
You betcha. That's exactly what it is, Todd.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's talk about some of those things about those risks maybe involved. But what are some common misconceptions that you've run into in starting a business and working through your businesses, and how have you addressed them?
Well, the first thing I learned about risk is most of the risk that people talked about at the large corporation was perceived risk, not real. And if you bet on yourself, there is no real risk, okay, in terms of being able to do that. And that's what I've done. I really bet on myself and my ability to go forward. And I really have not seen risk as a big issue because of that, okay? It really, it certainly took a lot of hard work and a lot of failures to get to be successful. But you learn from your failures, you understand it, and you build your success off those failures. And once you do that, there is no real risk anymore to be able to go out there. Now, does companies always make money and they go from 0 to 100 in a straight line? Absolutely not. Okay, it's a bumpy road. It goes up and down, and you have to deal with a lot of challenges to get the companies up and running. But that's the part I love. I love that part. Certainly, if you get anxiety over that part of building a business, don't do it. So because you're gonna run into it, buddy. So that's what I tell people. So
Yeah, it's very good. That's right. That's right. So yeah, so if it's gonna keep you up at night, understand you're probably gonna be up at night. So how long do you want to be up at night, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting you say that because about 2 years after I started my companies, a cohort of mine at the Fortune 100 company came up and said, I bet you don't sleep much at night. I said, I actually sleep a lot better at night when I work for the company because there's a lot more things outside of my control. You know what I mean? If there was an issue, I could work till 3 in the morning. I had the resources to do that. So I could get it done that way. So but in a corporation, I had to wait. I had to wait for people to get aligned to me to be able to do that kind of work. So and fix the problem. So
Yeah, and I love how you put it that in the corporate world, there's a lot of the risks that we have are perceived in many cases. They're not reality, right? They're if we don't quite make the investors' expectations this quarter, it's not going to crash the whole company. But man, there's a lot of pressure on us to make those quarterly numbers, especially when you're publicly traded and things like that, like your Fortune 100 was. So, but yeah, I came from the private equity world, and it's the same pressure. So I totally understand. So
great.
very good. So you just mentioned that there are challenges, right? So today you've talked about a lot of the challenges that you overcame by starting new businesses or the issues that you had. Where are you today? What are the greatest challenges that you face as an organization today?
Well, today I think scaling the business more. I've tried to with different ways of scaling the business to a much bigger business. We hit the ceiling of about 20 million a year annual revenue, and I seem to not be able to get past that 20 million. Okay, and so what I found out, I found the problem, and the problem was me. Okay, and so that's one of the easiest problems to fix, by the way. So what I did is I said, well, how can I go about scaling this business without me being in charge of it? Because a style of somebody that starts up a building is you're very well engaged. You know the business like the back of your hand. I could walk through the business today and tell you whether I'm making money or not. I don't need the financial people to tell me. I know. And so what happens is you lose that when you try to scale. You don't have that. The owner has to be there to be able to do that. I've not really found anybody that could do that. And so what we did about a year and a half ago, I decided to bring in somebody that would help me build processes that decisions could get made on, and we could work as a team, as a leadership team. And I kind of stepped back a half a step, not all the way, but I stepped back a half a step. And the reason I didn't step back a full step is because I was there to support people in, being there to kind of resonate out and learn about what I knew. It was transfer some of that knowledge to it. So the end goal was to really go to and build the company in a way that it would go to 100 million. And basically what it was we're gonna convert into an ESOP, which the employees will own the company, and then basically moving forward from there. Now, that's kind of the direction today. So I think the real challenge to answer your question a little more succinctly, Todd, is being able to get the people to be able to lead the company in a way that they continue to move and continue to make progress and work as a group. Okay, in terms of being able to do that, a lot of collaboration, a lot more collaboration than there was in starting a company. And starting a company doesn't have that kind of collaboration in it. You basically make decisions, and if you make the right ones, good. If you make the wrong ones, you fix them. Okay, and that's kind of how you evolve the companies along. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, it does. In fact, it might answer the next question, but I want to make sure that I don't miss this question. So you've already talked
Sure.
about all the things that you've had to adapt in your business. And you just talked about collaboration as well. But pandemic happened in 2020. There's always some kind of a evolving business landscape. The pandemic was just one that we all had to deal with at the same exact time, right? Most businesses have something happening to them, whether it's outside pressures of a competitor or maybe their customers or whatever the issue that they're dealing with is. How do you stay adaptable, and is there anything that you do to remain innovative? You mentioned that a few times, that that's how you've always been, but how do you build it into your company?
I've been fairly fortunate in that I surrounded myself with people that love innovation as well. Okay, it's not that they could do. Could they go off and start their own company? Yes, they could. Will they? That's totally up to them. I mean, I've worked with people to start their own company since I've started mine. Employees that went off and tried to build companies with me. But the issue is it's the people. I mean, you really evolves around the people's mentality, and I call it I call it the culture we built. And the culture we built is the company. It's not the buildings. It's not the clientele we have. It's really the culture. That culture is really what makes the company work, and they're very good at it. It amazes me when I watch them solve problems. They flow right through the problems today. I mean, I don't. They do a great job of collaborating and being able to get things going and understanding each other, and moving through the whole process. It's just it's not a functional, what I call a functional silo company. If you're an engineer, and you need to run the line, you're gonna run the line, right? They're gonna do that, okay, to make sure they get the results for the customer. So there's very much of that, and I built that in the whole culture. So to do that
Got it.
over time.
Got it. So hiring people that are like-minded, innovative, the collaborative approach. It sounds like you have a very good problem-solving method that you use to get through challenges, which is great. So really good things. So thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
So you've mentioned revenue growth for sure as one of your future goals, but when you think about your future plans and goals in the business, can you share a little bit about that? And then what is your next step in your entrepreneurial journey look like? Is it getting to the sunset, or what does it look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think about that problem a lot because I already got the answer. But the issue is that in moving forward, I really want the value and the employees to see what they built and reap the benefit of what they built as well. And so it really the future of the company is based on them being able to take the company from where it's at today to $100 million company. Now again, if you understand a little bit about ESOPs, they basically will reap large benefits from that goal. Okay, that even if they get to 40 million, it's a big benefit. Okay, in the way that it works. So I think it's set up really. The future is set up with the employees, not myself. Okay, so the Fischer Group really moves with the employees, and they get a huge payback for reaching that goal. Okay, so then your question about what I want to do, I'm going to continue what I'm doing. I start businesses. I've learned that to start businesses and do it not in my sleep, but I'm groggy when I start them. But the issue is that I'm beginning to use beginners and the beginner mentality to start my companies, because I did identify that I was a beginner. I thought in the corporate world I learned a lot. The truth is I learned about 90% of what I know today since I left the corporation. Okay, and I didn't know I had to be a lawyer. I didn't know how to be an accountant. I didn't know how to, how to do operations. I never did that in a large corporation. I never did that stuff. I just had people that did it for me. So now you do it yourself. You do your own books, and those kind of things is how I started the company. And so I've learned such a tremendous amount about the big picture that it's a lot easier for me to start a company with people today. And so, but what I need is that beginner's mentality. I have to revert back to it, and I have to have people around me like that. So having experienced people around me that know the answer, the experts per se, is not very helpful in me starting a company. Okay, I can listen to them and certainly get information from them, but the beginner. So what I did is I just started another company, the Sapling Company, in June. So what I did is I had two work plus students that are college students. They're committed to work for me for during school for 4 years, and then I pay their tuition if they successfully do it. And those guys, the two of them and me started a company. We started out, it was $5,000 the first month in revenue on e-com. Now it's almost $300,000 a month. So it's growing quickly. it can easily scale to, again, a much, much bigger company in terms of the scale that we're going to. So I continue to want to do that, and I continue to get energized by that, and I spend a lot of time on that in the day, and night. So
Excellent. You've done a really good job of answering questions, I think, before I asked them, actually. But I like to get some clarity around these things. So
sorry,
really
I didn't mean to replace you or anything, Todd.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's totally fine. So my last question for you, and again, I think you just talked a little bit about it, but maybe there's something else that goes deeper into it. But so what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs or just starting their journey or facing challenges in their business that may be adding on to what you just said about that beginner mentality?
Yeah, I think that getting advice and having consultants come in and tell you how to start a company, business plans, and the nature of those kinds of devices and things are useful, but they're not going to drive success for you. Okay, you have to drive success. You're the one that has to develop that. You have to learn not only what the plan is, but how to block and tackle to win the game. Okay, and so the blocking and tackling is what people don't teach you. Okay, because quite frankly, they don't know. Okay. In terms of what to do, nor do I. Okay, but I'll learn it, right? I think one of the things that when I knew the culture was right is we were working on a hard problem. It was most people thought it was impossible to solve, and I forget, it was one of the engineers said, "Hey," I said, "Hey, this is tough." He said, "Yeah, but we'll learn how to do it." so to see that kind of things in the culture is what you need. You need to have that kind of mentality that you'll learn it. You don't know it today, but you'll learn it, right? To be able to solve it. So that's what we do really well. I think that the horizon today and the type of people that are coming out of schools, as an example, and colleges and stuff, I think will be one of the most productive generations yet. And the reason why is because we tend to have a box around technology, right? And we tend to look at technology different ways than what somebody coming out of school do. They look at it as a productivity tool. We look at it as a distraction. They're playing games. I always tell people, when you're on your phone at work, they think you're playing games on it, buddy. And so they're not. They're actually using it in a way that they can be more productive than we can. And that's what I try to tap into, is that knowledge. My top engineer never went to college, and he's one of the best engineers I worked with. He's probably in the top 95% of engineers to be able to deliver what we're going to do. He learned it on the internet. He learned it on Google. He learned it by doing, and you have to learn by doing a lot, I would say, if you start a company. So don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves and fail. So it can be humbling when you try to do something you've never done before and you're supposed to be the leader. It can be humbling for you, but you've got to be humble and do it. So
I love that. I love that. Now, so what I hear you saying there is humility. I hear you saying continuous learning. And then the other one you said there was fail often and fail fast, probably, right? So if
yeah,
not
that's
all
the way
ideas
you learn
are the
fast.
greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very
No,
good.
it's exciting.
Yeah. So Al, I want to thank you for your time today. It was excellent having you on the show. You provided a lot of insights. Your journey is exceptional. Congratulations on all the success that you've had. It was great meeting you today and learning more about your entrepreneurial journey. To everyone watching, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Al, any final thoughts?
No, I think have fun with life and enjoy what you do and create passions and purpose, and life goes well. So I would tell you that.
Excellent. Thank you, Al.
Okay, thanks, Todd. You have a good day.
You too.